Good morning, Anita.
Morning, Mavis.
Hi.
I'm sorry, I had you on mute. Good morning,
Good
everybody.
morning.
Nice sunny day.
Oh, I know. I want to be outside. I'll be looking out the window the whole time. Hi, Myrna.
Hi, good morning.
And then for the Johnson & Johnson deal to hit and then cause a little ripple with the distribution process was just real. It's just like everywhere you turn, you just can't get fully ahead of this thing without something else tripping up a little bit.
I know.
So I'm curious, are we at a plateau with the vaccine? Because Monday, they released the new shots and there's still appointments available, first dose appointments.
Couldn't believe it.
Yeah,
Yeah, they look good. You can still get in a lot, it looked like.
right.
I was surprised.
Blair, can you juice up the screen so it's online?
Sorry, no juicing up this morning. We've already had the conversation.
I don't think it's on. Yet there it is. Good morning, Mavis and Anita.
Good
Good
morning.
morning.
And do we have any?
Good morning,
Really?
Mr. Chairman.
This Bates. Mark, did I just hear you chime in?
Yeah, I was looking for my good morning, but that's okay.
I
Good
don't,
morning,
because we
Mark.
can't see you, Mark.
No, you cannot.
You got to have a picture in order to get acknowledged.
Mike,
Oh, all right.
Mo, are you with us? Blair, do you see Dr. Iqbal? And Deb Allen, are you with us?
Doesn't look like it.
4, 5. We have 5. That's quorum. Okay.
Sounds like somebody's got a cat that's answering for them.
Good one.
That would be Cleopatra.
Oh, okay then. Good morning, Cleopatra.
All right. Good morning. We're reaching the just after 9 o'clock, 9:02 on Wednesday, April 14th. Let's call the Human Services Committee to order. If you could do a roll call.
Allen? Bates? Bates?
She's on mute.
Muted.
I saw her.
We're reading
Bates
her
here.
lips.
Bates here,
Thank
sorry.
you.
There's she.
Davis?
Davis here.
Igbo? Kenyon?
In
Shep-
the room, in the room.
In person. Shepro? Lewis?
Lewis here.
And just to acknowledge, I didn't realize that at the meeting yesterday, Ken was calling in from the hospital. And,
Yes.
and I did not,
Oh,
He shipped down to our hospital.
I was unaware of that. So our thoughts and prayers go out to Ken.
You gotta pray for the hospital, not him.
Okay, then. Do we have
yeah.
a motion for approval of minutes and any discussion therein?
Move to
Kenyon
approve.
motions, Bates seconds. Any comments or concerns? That being said, go ahead and call.
Bates?
Aye.
Davis?
Davis, yes.
Dr. Igbo, did you join us? Kenyon?
Yes.
Lewis?
Yes, they're approved.
Okay, public comments. I see nobody in the room. Is there anyone online?
Do you want to talk, Cleo?
Okay. Monthly financials are attached. Did anybody have any questions on those? Veterans Assistance Commission. Jake, before we hand it over to you, Blair, I'm getting a ton of feedback on this. Is that just juice? Before we get into Jake's report, I don't want to sidestep the governing body that Jake reports to in addition to us has sent a request that we begin review of the compensation structure for our Veterans Assistance Commission department. Unfortunately, the way that was brought through directly to me, I don't know that that was appropriate, and I don't mean that negatively. I'm just saying I don't know that I had the information or the wherewithal to proceed with that in the proper direction. So I had reached out to finance and Mr. Berman to try and find a way to begin moving that forward and having some review. And Jake, I just want to report that we are working on that when I tell you that there's traction or no traction, if it's a zero depth pool, our toes are wet and we're proceeding in that direction, but it's a much bigger picture on things. I do not want in any way, shape, or form for the slow pace to be indicative of our appreciation of you and your team or an indication of how we feel you do on your job, because, sir, you are second to none and your statistics prove that. And I just wanted to acknowledge that for the committee, that we are working on that, but I would expect that to be a 30, 60, 90 day before we even have a direction on that. Do you have any questions on that at all? Or are you
No,
okay
no.
with that?
Thank you for the kind
I
words.
just want you to be comfortable.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And I've purposely tried to stay out of the conversation. So that's all news to me. I appreciate the kind words.
Okay. With that said, why don't you go ahead?
Thank you. So for the, let's see, we're looking at the month of February this month. For the average Illinois veteran, the average days to completion for their claim was 124.2 days. Folks who used our office saw that done in 116.3 days. So that's going faster, but these numbers are jumping all over the place. So one number that we don't track locally, but the VA does, is what they call average days pending. So it looks at their current inventory of claims and what the average number of days pending for that claim is. What we report and what the VA also reports is what the average days to completion is. So two very big, very different numbers. So the average days pending for a claim, Illinois veterans claim right now is almost 160 days. So we're seeing those initial claims that are being held up by records requests in St. Louis at the National Archives, separate from the VA, but the VA needs those records to do these claims. Those claims are still not getting processed. So we still have a lot of claims out there, 160 days average pending, but those that are being decided are the ones that are the folks that are coming back for their supplemental claims, second time, third time, coming to the VA. Those are getting decided, and that's where we're seeing these numbers, 124.2 and then 116.3 for us. They are fluctuating pretty drastically, though. For pension claims, the average Illinois veteran waiting is 62.4 days for a decision. Our office, 74.9. That is trending down. It has to do with a couple large or long time decisions that came early in the year and the small sample size for that. Average.
If I can on this,
Yes.
is there, if I can use the term ebb and flow, is there an ebb and flow to this that year over year you can look at and say, these are the months that are a little bit slower and these are the months that are pretty rapid?
Generally, no. It's usually pretty consistent.
Okay.
And we're usually consistently faster than the VA. What's throwing everything off right now is COVID and a closure of, it's called the National Personnel Record Center. It's a huge record repository in St. Louis. So when a veteran files their disability claim, they come into our office, we put their paperwork together, we send it to the VA. If it's their initial claim, the VA says, "Dear National Personnel Record Center," which is a separate governmental body under the National Archives and Records Administration, "please send us this veteran's record." And some GS2 clerk goes into this big warehouse, climbs up 29 shelves, pulls a box off, pulls a file out, and then it gets scanned to the VA. That's how archaic it is. We've actually toured the facility down there. That facility has been closed to various degrees since March of last year. At one point, they had 10% staff back, only doing emergency requests. And when I say emergency requests, it's for a veteran who is homeless, a burial request, or a veteran needing to get into the healthcare system. So compensation claims did not fall underneath that category. They did open briefly for those in, I think, the November timeframe. And then they closed back down again with a resurgence. They just brought back 20% of their staff. And then the VA said, hey, we got all this authority to vaccinate, federal employees. Why aren't we going in there and vaccinating those folks so they can get back to work? It was actually a great idea, but it took them to March or early this month to figure that out. So now with those folks getting vaccinated, there's a backlog of, I think, 500,000 records requests that they need to do.
Wow.
That's what's throwing everything off. So it's not everybody. So somebody who's coming back to us filing a secondary claim for their, not their initial claim, their records have already been associated with their VA claims file. So that's not a delay. So those 124-day decisions, that's what you're seeing. The 158.9 that's out there average, those are the ones that are filing for the first time that they need those records on. So I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, and thank you for your candor and patience. So
Absolutely.
I'm not sure that I would be a very good person for that role. So I appreciate the skill set you have.
There are 10,547 claims pending in the state of Illinois. 169 of those belong to our office. Now that's something going back in time. Usually there's only about 8,000 claims pending in the state of Illinois total. So we're seeing that inventory stay up there because of those records requests being unfulfilled. We filed 31 disability compensation claims in the month of February, 2 pension claims, 1 dependency indemnity compensation claim, 4 survivors pension claims, 19 applications for healthcare. That's higher than normal. We talked about that last month, and the folks that came to us to get into the healthcare system so that they could get their COVID shot through the VA. That's finally trailing off in the month of March. But we did 19 of those applications in February, and then 1 appeal with 166 forms completed total and $239,000 in new benefits brought to our clients. And that concludes my report. I'd be happy to take any questions.
Jake, could you give us a, there was a Facebook Live presentation that you were involved with. I believe that one of the senators,
Yes.
yourself and a third party. I don't claim in any way, shape, or form to be as on top of meetings as my counterpart, Mr. Kaios, but I did take a minute that evening to listen to that, and the 2 stories that struck me were the expediency when a veteran homeless situation, I want to say maybe it was Elgin,
Yes.
and the rapid response to assist that individual, I think is, we love bars and graphs and charts and stuff like that, but I think when the rubber meets the road, the 2 stories that you didn't tell, but you were part of, are worth repeating, if you would.
Sure, absolutely. So the one that comes to mind, you may have to refresh my memory on the second, but we were called by an individual in Elgin, just a concerned citizen, nobody that we knew or had contact with in the past, and said there's a individual representing himself as a veteran that's panhandling more or less outside of the Hobby Lobby in Elgin. And they stopped and talked and maybe exchanged some introductions, and the individual called our office. We called the VA. They have a homeless response team essentially that is out of Hines that handles different geographic areas. Their catchment area goes everywhere from suburban Cook County down into Kankakee County and out to LaSalle County. So pretty big area.
Hour and a half.
Yeah, easy. I mean, when I drive to Hines from here, it's an hour, on a good day. So before the close of business, or it was either before close business of that day or first thing the next morning, the social workers from the homeless team came out met that veteran, picked him up, and started getting him treatment and care and housing almost instantaneously. That's fantastic. I can't speak more highly enough, and I think I use the term, this isn't your grandpa's VA. And the fact that, when my grandpa, when I got out of the military, my grandpa said, make sure you get your appointment first thing in the morning. This is 2009. Otherwise you'll rot in the waiting room all day. That's not the case today. We have a very responsive VA, a very caring VA, and a very competent VA, especially in our area. So, and that's coming from somebody who fights the VA and holds them, tries to hold them accountable. We have a great federal Veterans Affairs hospital that serves our area.
So the thing that caught me was it wasn't weeks, it wasn't months, it was hours.
Hours.
And that individual had help, and there were several stories like that, but it gave me great confidence that the systems that we have in place are being tweaked. And again, we have a tendency at this committee to just look at numbers, and being a numbers guy, I focus there all too often. And so when you had the appropriate form to sit and listen, I wanted to take the time to do that and make sure that we at least report to the other committee members. So thank you so much for all you do.
Thank you.
Jamie, are you prepared to look through some of these? Do you want me to walk through them? Come to the podium and we will work our way through these together. But Blair, if you can pull up the Department of Human Resource Management monthly Blue Cross Blue Shield invoice. And I have not pre-seen this.
So I did review it, although it shows a prior statement balance that just had to do with when AP ran, it was paid timely. There were no fees associated with it. They're still having trouble getting the adjustments line, which is that capitation fee that they had adjusted wrong. We talked about this last time.
We had 2 months back to back that the capitation fees were not, they were artificially
They were
lower than they
artificially
needed to be.
low. Yes, they incorrectly billed them too low. And if you go down to group alternatives graph, it's actually pretty visible what happened. Capitation's normally about $215,000 a month. That's pretty standard back for years. It fluctuates a little bit, but it's always right around there. They only billed $45,000 for a couple, I think you have to go down one more page for the current, yep. And so it's there, you can see it's that.
See it bouncing significantly.
Right, it's that yellow block.
Yep.
Near the top. So it's supposed to be about $215,000. They missed it entirely in October 20 and then double billed in November. But for December and January, they only billed $45,000. So we were about $330,000 short. So they caught up that $330,000, but they didn't fix their problem. So again, they only billed us like about $45,000 for February. So that's why we're looking at $371,000 there.
Okay, for the committee, we can get as granular as you'd like to get, or we can just tell you everything's very copacetic on this.
Yes,
And there were some anomalies, but the anomalies were explained and they don't have them fixed yet. And I would expect to see a little bit more variance than we have seen in other years. It's not us, it's not group alternatives, it is Blue Cross Blue Shield. And at the last meeting, there were 2 takeaways that we had. Mr. Davis, you had asked something on the work comp, and we were discussing this particular slide. Christine and Jamie and I did spend an hour or so with Mike Baker and his team, making sure that my understanding of this was being communicated correctly. And I'll give myself like a C+, B-. I was pretty close on most things. But this variance on this particular line item is the one that's been troubling. There's nothing that we've done wrong. It is what it is, and it will correct itself. I would hope that by June, we see that all leveled off.
Yeah,
Is that accurate?
Yes, we're watching it. There's no issues. It's just a billing error, and they'll catch it up. Hopefully, they'll have it corrected, ideally next month.
Anybody have any questions on that? Do you want to get deeper, or is that okay?
Sounds about right.
Let's go to, is that Mo or is that Mark?
Oh, that was Mark.
Okay. Let's go on to the MERP report. Blair, can you catch us backwards there? There we go.
It's just number of enrollees. It's been pretty consistent. We've got 56 people on MERP right now.
And we hold steady at about that 45 to 55 count
Yes.
month over month, correct?
Yep.
Okay. The group alternatives report we just went through. Let's go on to applicants and staff changes. Jamie, was there anything there that was of significance?
No, nothing significant on this report.
I think that we see, as I asked Jake earlier, year over year, are there trends? Well, you know, on these staff reports, there's always trends every time there's an election cycle because we bring in all these temporary people and it spikes and and then the next month they're gone and well, okay, that's anticipated. We know that there's nothing in the grand scheme that looks out of sorts.
Correct.
Questions or comments on that? Let's go to the monthly workers' compensation reports. And Jamie, again, you are not privileged to sit in on the executive sessions that go on at the board level. But for the committee, I think that we've discussed a few pending cases last month. And then this month, I think we discussed some liability cases that are coming through. So all in all, I would like to say that these numbers continue to trend in the positive direction. But I think there's one or two out there that may cause a hiccup in this. I don't anticipate those being settled for another 6, 8, 12 months. But we should be not surprised if one or two of them are settled and we see a slight spike. They're coming. We know it. We've been advised. So, I mean, just to put it out there.
Yes, everything's continuing to trend down, so it looks like we're still on a good path, especially as far as the workers' comp goes.
Mm-hmm. Any questions on this? I know we're clipping pretty quickly today. Sorry. Compliance, the monthly training report. Keep going, Blair. There we go. Dr. Iqbal had sent an email out to us asking if there's any way that we could, how do I phrase this? Remove people that have already taken their online trainings so that they're not continuing to get the emails. And I believe the brief answer is, yeah, we can't do that. The computer system that we have in play currently will not do that. It has to be manually done. Jamie, am I correct, or do we have any update on that?
We do try to have them automatically come off. It's kind of a strange system. After you take it, you need to go back and electronically sign the document. And when that happens correctly, then it does correctly remove people. But that's kind of a tricky process. It doesn't always work. And sometimes people sign a paper copy and send it to us. And when that happens, we do have to manually remove them. So until they tell us, hey, I'm still getting these reminders, they sometimes continue to get them. But we do go in and make an effort to hand remove them from that list once they submit a signed piece of paper for us.
Okay. And if I remember correctly, of the 1,300 approximate employees that we have, last year we had, in terms of the sexual harassment training compliance portion, we were well above the statutory amount of 80 or 90%. And we're 3 months into it, and I would say that we are probably at 40% right now. Would that?
I think we're above half now. So we've trended above half. So I think
Okay.
we've got about 60, but you know, the emails are.
I'm sorry, does the actual number there say 1,023 active employees that are required to take this and 563 that have taken it?
Yes, plus the 83 supervisors. So we're above 60% now, I think.
Okay, super. I didn't mean to mislead.
No, that's
those
okay.
numbers.
We're well on track.
Okay, perfect. And again, computer, IT man hours, hey, can we have some man hours to update our system a little bit? But no, we're not going to get that. Just call and say, hey, I've taken my test and we'll figure out what the glitch was and get you removed off the list. So,
Correct.
I think that's more than fair and reasonable. Okay, any other training reports on here?
Nope, that's the only one.
I have a question. All righty. Jamie, I'm so sorry, John.
It's been so long ago since I filled that out. If we've taken that training, does it?
Every year, annually.
I know that, but it posts automatically someplace, doesn't it? We don't have to inform anybody that we've done it.
So what we've said is, what Jamie just said is, if you've taken it and filled out the form electronically, you're done.
Okay.
If you printed it manually and sent it in, we should make sure that it was completed.
I missed that. I'm sorry.
You were dozing. That's okay. You're a really great guy. All right. If I can, I just wanted to thank Jamie and the team for continuing to do such an excellent job this past month and this coming month. We appreciate the extra effort. And I actually had to call Jamie this week at 8:30 at night. My wife yelled at me for making that call. I apologize for calling so late. I was less than 30 seconds, and I just wanted to acknowledge that, our appreciation. So,
Thank you very much.
all right. Old business, training email reminders for mandatory training. I don't think we have anything on that, correct?
That's what we just talked about,
Talked
Dr.
about that,
Iqbal's
right.
question. Yes.
Okay. Mark, also under old business, I had a note that you had asked last meeting, about the workers' comp modification factor. And I told you, I don't believe that as a public entity that's self-insured that applies to us. And we did take time to confirm that with our carrier that we do not. And Jamie, I bet you'll make that sound a whole lot more professional than me right now. So.
I did write a response too that I put, it's on page 33 of the packet. Yeah, they said that even if we requested one, since any business our size, government entities our size would be self-insured. So there really would be no one to compare us to create that rating. So they recommended we continue to use the 3-year look back period that we use in our reports.
And that's fine. Mark, did you have any question on that or?
No, thank you for the follow-up. I checked on it and got the same response myself. So thank you.
Perfect. Any new business? Ms. Lewis? Good?
I'm
Ms.
good.
Bates?
Thank you very much.
Ms. Bates?
No questions. That's just
Mark?
fine.
I'd just like to make a motion to place the reports on file.
Perfect. Mr. Kenyon?
I'll second it.
Here we go.
Go.
Any discussion on that? Is that an aye vote or a roll
No,
call?
it's a roll call.
Still roll call, I think. Yeah.
Bates,
Aye.
Davis,
Davis, yes.
Kenyon,
Yes?
Lewis.
Lewis, yes.
Reports are on file.
As chair-
Iqbal is also here.
Oh, hi, Mo.
Hi.
Thank you, Mr. Iqbal.
As chair, I see no need for executive session.
Move to adjourn,
We
sir.
have a motion to adjourn.
Bates, second.
Bates second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No, we are adjourned. Thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
your time this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking care of our employees.